Hello everyone, welcome back. I am so excited to share with you this little side project that I do to include in my journals. It is a little envelope that we are going to create from collage paper, and this is all from scratch. And these little tags, again, they're very simple to make, and we are going to include some tangles. We've got Braze, we've got Bronx cheer, we have got Rambles, we have got some Zingers, and I was inspired by this little tangle that is just, it's so cute, and it's not exactly how it was designed. It was created by Nancy Robertson, and she named it LoBella. So if you want to see more detail on how she creates that, that's really, I think it's really cute, but I just wanted to add a couple into my design. So anyways, with that, we will get started. I'll show you, I usually watercolor the back, and I love to include maybe quotes or messages, what I was thinking that day, or even leave messages for my children, because these journals really are something that, you know, I hope to, you know, pass along, and maybe they can pull out and, you know, find a thought or a special message or something. So that's what I love to do with these. So I'll show you how I generally will take a page in my journal. Now this one is not going to go onto this page. If it were, that's why I wasn't worried about the back, because I'm not sure where I'm going to use it yet. But if you're going to paste it on your page, there's no need to worry about the back, and then you would do your design around that. This one, if I were going to use it over here, I actually seal it into the binding, so it's a little separate page of its own. So I'll show you how to do that in a future video, but today we're simply going to create this envelope and these tags. And the only thing different is with this envelope, it was a single-sided collage paper that had this design, and then it was white on the back. So what I did was I took a complimentary second page, and I just kind of trimmed it and attached it with glue and slid it in there and trimmed the sides and put a little corner down here. And so it just adds that little extra touch, and I distressed the edges. Anyways, today we are going to do, actually our design is a different paper, a different design, but this is from the Jim Holtz Ideology collection, and it is 8x8 designs. So 8x8 pages, and they are two-sided. So we don't have to worry about, you know, unless we wanted to change something, we don't have to worry about attaching that inside insert. So basically what we're going to be doing is creating the base next, and I'll show you step by step. It's very easy to do, how I create the envelope, how I create the tags, and how I create these fun tangles. So it kind of goes with our botanical theme that I'm working on, and I hope you enjoy, so stick around. Thanks. Okay, so this is the page out of that collection that I decided to use, and I love the blues over here especially. So I'm going to really focus on that, and this is the back side, and I think it will be really pretty. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to turn it at an angle, and I'm going to mark it straight along the diagonal, and I'm simply going to put, I'm going to use one of my archival ink pens. It's not going to show, and I'm just going to mark where that should be on each corner. Okay, and I can see that okay. All right, and the next thing, so to cut this, what I'm gonna do is line up my diagonals and give it a cut. Okay, now I am going to be using, this that'll come in handy for another one. So I will just put that aside because I really want to use this one. Okay, our next step, what I'd like to do is I want this to be the front, and I want this to be able to pop because I imagine using this on a, I love these colors and I tend to work with them a lot. And maybe my inserts will not be quite this dark because I want to tangle over them. So we'll decide that as we go. I might use this lighter color, some of the gold, and we'll kind of go from there because yours will be different. So this is just the method. We're gonna just check this again. So this one is actually 11.5 inches. So if I divide that by 3, okay, so I'm going to score this triangle at 3.75 at this side and 3.75 on this side. I'm going to score it right down. So I'm going to make some little marks so that I know where that is. And they're hard to see, but I'll see them when I'm scoring. And I'm going to do 3.75 on this side. Okay, so I've got my 2 little markers here. If you don't have a scoring board, you can do it, you know, by making the line and using you know, a scoring tool as well. But this is just way easier. Okay, so all I do is I try to line up my little mark here with one of the scoring outlets, and I take my tool, and it is right here, so I'm just going to score right here, and I'm going to look for the other one, which is right here. And I'm gonna line that up with my little notch. Doesn't matter which one, just as long as I get it on that notch. And I'm gonna score here. Okay, that's it for scoring. Okay, because this is going to be folded in and it's going to be a pocket, I don't want to glue along those edges on this side. All I want to do is take whatever, you know, adhesive you use, and I'm going to simply put a thin layer or dot, however you do it, along the bottom. Okay, I'll clean that up in a minute. I'm going to be using it more. And we are going to simply fold in one side and fold in the other side. Okay, now I'm going to let that dry, and what I want to do is, you can use any type of clip. Just kind of clip that together so that it, you know, you don't have to sit there and press it. And we're just going to set that aside for a moment and work on something else while that dries. Okay, for the tag, I'm just using 140 pound, and this is a 5x7 sheet. And that is plenty enough to work with, and hot press paper. So it's very easy to work with. Okay, so for my tags, in order for them to fit into here, I want to cut 3 2-inch rectangles out of this piece. Now you don't have to have all these different cutting tools and scoring things and everything. It's just in my line of work, I tend to have a multitude of items. This can be done very simply with just scissors. You don't even need all of this. So I'm just doing it to make it a little bit easier. One thing I do want to do is I'm going to go on the back, and I'm going to make a pencil mark. I'm going to mark this just at the 2-inch mark in pencil. I don't want pen on here because it would show up. So I've got 1 2, I've got 1 2, and 1 2, and I'm gonna have a little bit left over. So I just want to draw my line. Some people do this just without any guidelines at all. I can do that with drawing, but I can't do it with measurements. Okay, so, okay, I've got my little marks here. It just helps me keep it together. Okay, I'm going to use this handy dandy. Make sure I can see the pencil mark, and I'm going to cut. There's one, there we go. And my second one, make sure it's on the line. Got that one. And my third one, my line is hard to see, but I see it. And there's my third one. And I'll hang on to this just for, it comes in handy. Okay, now what I want to do is I want them varying sizes. Like the example, I had one tall, one medium, and one short. One at 4.50. Okay, need to sharpen again. I'm always needing to sharpen pencils. Okay, and I'm gonna mark one at, let's see, let's go to, there's no exact, you can do whatever you want. I'm gonna go just a little bit below the 3.75. And my last one, this is going to be my shortest one. I'm going to do 3 1/4 seems to work pretty good. So I'm going to mark 3 1/2. Okay, you can tell measuring is not my strong point. Okay, so I've got those marked, and now we are going to trim those. Should be right here. And that's a piece we don't need. There's our shortest one. And here's our middle one. And I've got my scrap. And here's my longest one. Again, if you don't have a trimmer, just use a scissors. This is not a requirement. Okay, so next, let's move on to watercoloring. Just a background on these. That's our next step. Okay, now next I just put an old sketchbook under me. I want to do my little marker cards, the first side. So I kind of picked some colors that I thought might bring out the blue in contrast with this. So I'm using the Danielle Smith watercolors, but really any watercolors will do. I'm gonna use, but just water them down. You want to keep it light. You want to keep it light, and keep your towel or Scott towel by you. It's your best friend when you're watercoloring. So I'm just gonna start, because we're gonna Zentangle some tangles over these, and I want to make sure that it's not so dark that you can't see it. So I'm just starting with a bit of a light blue lavender. I have so many different watercolors, I really can't tell you, but just a light blue or light purple is what I was kind of going for. And then I will kind of just touch in some of that purple. And remember that watercolor always dries lighter than what you see. Now normally you would, if you're working with watercolor and this kind of paper, you would tape it down, but it's really not necessary for these. So I just want a bit of a background, and I'm going to add a little bit of a green contrast. And these might be too light when they're dry, and I might decide to go over them again. But the biggest thing is I just don't want to go too dark. So just kind of play with it and see what you get. But that first coat, just go light so that you can recover. But again, it dries a lot lighter than you see. Okay, I'm going to set that one aside, and I'm going to do this one. Maybe I'll do this one more with just the purple, just very lightly. I don't like sharp edges, so I keep working it out so that it just kind of blends. And that's only for those of you who aren't familiar with watercolors. I'm sure many of you are. Watercolor is one of my favorite mediums with colored pencil. Okay, so that just gives it a little bit different look. And I might still put a touch, let's try this green, but not heavy, that's too light. And that's a little dark, so what I'm gonna do is add a little bit of water and work it out. And what I'll do is add a little bit of my lavender. I think it'll dry just fine. A little bit of my lavender back in. And I always like to add a touch of that gold. I'm one for glitter and sparkles to a fault. Okay, and the third one, I didn't realize that I wasn't recording. Just going to try to smooth out that edge. So this is kind of what I got for the third one. So it's still needing to dry, but I'm liking that look. I'm going to distress these edges too, so I'm not too concerned about the heaviness on the edge. But again, you can go back and touch it up, but let that dry and see what you think. While our pieces are drying over here, we are back to our envelope. So let's just remove our clips. And as you can see, you have a pocket here too if you wanted, but I'm not going to use that. So let's just start embellishing this a little bit. First, I want to start by distressing the edges, but I'm going to put a round paper cut here so I get a rounded edge. Okay. And then I'm just going to use one of my Jim Holtz distressed. Let's see, what would probably show up? I'm thinking probably this vintage photo, or maybe this ground espresso. But I'm gonna want to use it on those. So I think I'm gonna use the vintage photo. And I am going to get my stamper. I was using blue this morning. I always change these out to be kind of close, even though, you know, they really don't. There's not anything in it. Okay, so let's simply first just de-stress. Not de-stress. I keep saying de-stress. It's really on my mind. Okay. Distress would be the correct term. De-stress those edges. I'm going to do these on the little inserts as well. Yeah, I think that's showing up pretty nice. I'm not going to do it on this inside piece because I'm going to cover it and it would get quite messy on the inside if I tried to do that. If I wanted to do that, it would be something I should have done before making the envelope. And let's see how it turns out up here. Yeah, I do like that. Almost has like a green tone on top of that blue, but I think it's pretty. Okay. And we can always do more, but let's see where our design goes. Okay, I always close these up. Do not want them to dry out. Okay. Now, first, I had this little piece of fabric that I thought might be, I liked the writing on it, and it might be a good contrast. I have a piece of corner that matches this, so I'm thinking of putting that here. But I would like the writing to maybe show a little bit. So I think what I'm gonna do is, you can see this is really just piecing it together. I'm not worried about the fringes on the end because I usually cover them, so no big deal. But I'm thinking something like that. And instead of the white lace that I used here, this one has a little bit more of a scalloped edge. So I'm thinking that I will do something like that here. I think that could be pretty. So I'm just gonna cut a couple pieces. I want to make sure that I have enough to like overlap. Okay, so that is going to go, yeah, I've got overkill there, so we'll trim it, no worries. Okay, I'm gonna put that there. I like the gray. I even have some, these are butterfly die cuts that I made, and you can find these through Etsy sellers too, but I really like to make my own die cuts. So I'm not sure if I'll use these on the markers or if I'll use them on the outside. I also thought that this was really a pretty embellishment I had, and I might think of putting it there. So anyways, let's just start just trying to see how some of this fits together. Another thing is, if I want to lighten it, I could include, this is kind of pretty, I could include some rice paper in there. I think I like the look of that. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I think that's pretty. So I think I will do something like that. Okay, I always save scraps. They just come in handy. So I have a clippings box that I put everything into, except the ridiculous ones. Okay, so I think what I'll start to do is, I think attaching this one would be the most logical. So you can use fabric glue too if you want, but I find this works just fine. And especially once everything is over it, it's just doesn't matter all that much. Okay, now my corner's gonna go here, so I want it to show the writing. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. Yeah, I think that's kind of pretty. Okay, I'm gonna trim this in a second. And I'm going to attach my triangle. I'm just gonna dot along the edges. I could even leave it for a pocket, but I'm not going to. Just so many things you can do. I mean, talk about grabbing anything, and see, nails come in handy. Okay. I'm gonna attach that right there. And I like the look of that. So just see what you have to play with and just kind of, you know, have some fun with it. So I'm thinking the rice paper might look pretty along here. So I think what I'll do is I'm just gonna cut it out a little bit. Yeah, I think that might be nice. gives a little something extra. Okay. For rice paper, you probably can use the regular glue, but I do like to use the Mod Podge. I just am more comfortable with how that works. So I'm just gonna take a, oh, I like that side too. Huh. No, I think I'm gonna stay the other way. I want it more subtle. That'll kind of show through anyways with the Mod Podge. Should really get my water paper sketch pad and be working on top of that, because I really don't want to get glue all over my workspace. So, okay, I'm thinking like right in here. I love rice paper, so pretty. See how that red even comes through. But perfect for me. So whatever you're creating is just fine. All right, now these are gonna go here. I think what I'm gonna do is I really like this gold speckle on the edge, and I think it will be really complementary when I attach this on top. So I think, now do I want my white on top? Or yeah, I think I want it on top. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut out, and remember to save all your scraps. Scratch. Okay. This one I'm going to put right here. Okay, so we'll just kind of eyeball this and then trim it. That works. Okay. And again, this dries clear, and it really works fabulous. So I'm just gonna attach a little bit of glue along because other things are gonna go over it, so it's gonna hold it down. Okay. It's cold here again today, but I know I don't have a right to say that because I'm in Florida. But I've got my heater on in here. I'm pathetic. Okay. So I have got that right about there. I'm not worried about the glue because it'll dry. It will dry clear. Okay, but before I attach my lace, I just want to give it a minute to dry. That's going to go over there, and this is going to go over here, and this is going to be trimmed. So, all right, let's let that dry. Actually, I do like the light. And then once I de-stress, this is a mindfulness activity. So once I distress the edges, that might pop. So I think I'm gonna just leave these be. I'm not gonna add any additional watercolor. So I'm gonna consider that side done. When we are done with the Zentangle part, we're going to do the backs like I did with these, just with, you know, some sort of umber, or I don't know, we'll decide. So these are looking good. The nails are not looking good. It's good I do my own nails. They are turning green, so I'm gonna have to redo them. Okay, now on my cards, what you could do is let these flatten if you would like. Just put a book over them and a heavy weight and let them flatten out. But for our purposes today, we're not going to worry about it. It will work just fine. I do like to, as well, round the edges of these as well. Okay, you all may have a different way of hole punching, but I just simply eye it up and put my hole there. Now this is a lot smaller than the other one I did, but I don't have my bigger hole punch right now. So this will have to do. But if you do have a bigger hole punch, you might want to use, I have one that's this size too, and I like that size a little bit better. So I would use a bigger hole punch. But for now, this will work. Still gives us the effect we're looking for. Okay, I'm going to start with the Tangle Rambles. And this is a fun tangle, and it's really not hard. It looks harder than it is. All right, I want it to be a little bit below here. So I'm gonna put my first circle where I want it to kind of end. And I'm going to, usually you kind of start, you know, with your middle circle, but because I have just a certain amount of room to work with, I'm going to go like this. Okay, so I have 3 circles. Now I want one that is going to kind of be able to connect with this one, and then I want it to connect over here, and keep on turning, and then I want it to connect over here and over here. And I'm just using my 0.05 micron pen. And again, remember, these are wonderful because once they dry, you can still go over them and the ink won't smear. Okay, now the next thing is you're going to draw just a little kind of a seed shape in the middle. And just go around and do that with each of these to connect them. They're not perfectly spaced apart. And I'm kind of curving, if I could see, I'm kind of curving up, and then this one I'm kind of curving down and around. Okay, so we've got our first part done. Okay, now we want to do this one to this one on each of these. So let's just put our little seed shape in. Almost looks like a grain of rice. And this is called Rambles, and it's a Zentangle Tangle. Okay, so now you have something that looks like that. Now, this next part, I hope you can see. I'm actually, you can do it with a 0.05, but I like to use a thinner pen, so I'm going to go down to a 0.03 because I need a little room to work with here. Okay, so start with your first seed and make an outline. Make another outline. Now, you've got 2 lines here. Now what you're going to do, I'm going to do these all together, but I just want to show you what's going to happen. I'm going to start at this side and come down. I'm going to skip this middle section and I'm going to put a line here. Kind of see how it crosses under, and they're kind of tight when you're working this small. It gets a little tight, but don't worry, they'll show up. So see how there's just a double line going behind this one? And you'll see how that pops out. In the end, it really pops out, regardless of how small it is. So, all right, let's do it again. I'm going to go around here and another one around. And I guess for the sake of it, I usually do all those parts first, but I'm going to just do it in order. And then start at the corner, come down, skip that first section, put a line, and put another line. Very simple. Again, turn, put a line. This is pretty small, so you see I'm going behind this one. Okay, and let's do it again. Put a line from here, stop, put a line underneath, and I need a second line, a line underneath, and the last one. Gonna do another one and a second one. Our line that begins here goes down, skips that middle one, and there we go. All right, so there's your basic shape. Now we just have one more thing to do for the outlining. We are going to go around and give this a double, I wish that one was a little thicker, a double aura outline, drawing behind. Just 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1. That one got thin. And 2. 1, 2. All right, there's our basic shape. Now, to get this to pop, what we really want to do is try to squeeze in. Okay, first let's put in our bigger circles. See this middle line here on the ridge? I'm going to try to squeeze in bigger circles that will kind of look like seeds or something. Okay, now this one's smaller, so a little harder, but it can be done. There's always a way. All right, here's the middle line. Circles. And this one is hard to catch but I can kind of fix it. I can just make the circles go over the line, so there's still that space, even though it was very thin. A way to recover. And it's not that it has to look a certain way, but just wanted to keep it. Oh, look it, see, I messed up and I did it on this one. So, you know what? It's not a mistake. We're just gonna go on this one and do bigger circles. And I'll show you how I fix this one. Okay, so those are my big circles. Now, little circles are gonna go in all the other areas, including this one here. So what I'm gonna do is just simply make those tiny. And then nobody will know the difference. Just little tiny circles. They're almost dots. But you'll see how once they're filled up, it'll really make the bars stand out. So I have got a bar here, so I just want to put a little one in here, and little one here, here, here. And you know, there's easier tangles to do. This is only if you're interested in Rambles, how to do it. But it is a more complicated tangle. Here, here. I gotta be careful because when I'm talking, I tend to make mistakes. Keep saying that because there are no mistakes. We can fix whatever. I'm just squeezing them in so that those bars kind of stand out. I'm always looking at where that bar is going. I'm going to squeeze one in here and in here. You could just fill the area black, but it doesn't tend to look the same to me. I like a little bit of white popping through to give it some dimension. I'm sorry, here they go. When I first started recording, stop. Okay, I'm gonna stop for a minute because they're barking and I'll come right back. Okay, because there's some shading to do on this that will give it some more dramatic features. But I just want to create a little stem because I'm making it a flower. So I've got my little stem there. And I am going to draw, goodness, I'm going to draw the Zinger right here. Zinger is fun, it's easy. Just draw 2 lines, darken up along the top. So darken up along that top, and then just draw these little half C's. Just real delicate. Make them smaller as you go, and just kind of end with a dot. There's your first Zinger. I'm going to draw another one over here. However you want to make them curve is absolutely fine. And I want this one to curve a little bit in this way. So I'm just going to kind of tilt those C's, but just keep making them smaller till I get to a dot. All right, I want to do just a little bit of a swirl here. come around. And this one isn't really a perf, but I'm going to start here and just come down. If it were a perf, it would go around and make a ball on this side. And I'm going to do one over here. Lastly, I'm going to add Nancy Robertson's LoBella. I really like this one. You make sure to check it out. Hers, this isn't exactly it, but it's cute. Okay, so now this one, all I'm doing is putting in my line, and then I'm just gonna make my circle shape, oval, not circle, kind of an oval. And I should have made that one a little bit bigger, but I'm gonna make another one. And I'm gonna make one over here. And then this one, I'm gonna come up between the two and just kind of curl it around. And then within each of these, I'm going to just make a little curl. It's hard to work small, but definitely worth it. Okay, and then I'm going to do one on this side coming up a little bit further. So when I get to, for example, my Zinger, I'm going to stop, pick up, go back around, and I'm going to aura or outline, drawing behind. And then I'm going to put one up here, and I'll do better at making them a little bigger. So like this, and then one like this, and one over here. And then we're going to do our little swirl. And one in here. And one in here. And lastly, here. Okay, so that's basically all I did for this one. So now we're ready to shade this one, and you'll see some dramatic effects. Okay, for shading, I'm going to come in with my pencil, and I'm going to start at the bottom of this leaf. I don't really care that it's going over because I want to create a shadow behind that line. Just kind of laying down the graphite so that I have enough to kind of blend it out. And then on these, just give it a little right here, or however you want to shade it. And then when I blend it, I'm going to start here. Just kind of, usually use the side of your blender, but it's hard to get in with these little small areas. Now, if you want to make your tags bigger and your envelope bigger, that works too. And I'll do different sizes in different videos. This is just the one that I wanted to share today. Okay, and over here, I'm going to shade right in here. Again, I'm not too concerned that it's going outside the lines because I want to create a shadow on these sides. So no big deal. In fact, I might do that as I go. And I do see something that I want to add. I just want to add a bit of a black dot at this end. I just think it would give it, sorry, here goes my voice again. Okay, just give it a little bit more drama. And let's see, so we got that one. I'm going to do this one. And blend that one out. And this shadow, I'm just going to put a little bit behind so it kind of pops up. Okay, let's go for this one. And while I'm here, I'm going to just shade this one too. And then we're going to shade Rambles. And watch it transform. And put my shadow behind. Not using a lot of pressure, just kind of taking dark out, blending it out. I'm using the graphite that I have to just kind of get that additional shadow in. Just adds a lot. Okay, now our zingers. We'll darken it here and here. And just a little underneath. I also add a little bit of glitter at the end that kind of changes the effect. This one I want to have a drop shadow behind it. Okay, so that is that. Now let's do our zinger. So on the zinger, we're gonna just take these little white bars. You don't need much because this is so small. And just put a little graphite in at the corners where it would tuck under. There's one here where it meets. Over here. Over here. There's one that kind of got lost. It's okay. And then on the outsides, I'm just kind of giving it just a little bit of depth and making it pop up. Giving it a bit of a dimension. And then on these inside, there's a lot of them. Okay, so I think I got them all. That one probably needs a circle right there, but we can fix that, whatever. Now, I'm not gonna touch it much. I'm just gonna slightly blend because I don't want to cover up that white. So ever so slightly, I'm just giving it that shading. And if I missed one, I can just use the graphite that's on the blender and kind of fix it. If something goes wrong, you can use your eraser. You can use a white jelly roll. So don't stress. Okay, I think that's good enough. But this one right here should be a circle, so I'm just going to put a little bit of dot there. Not that anybody would ever see it, but I see it. Okay, so that is our Rambles. I do want to put a little bit of a shadow behind it. Not much, just a little bit with the graphite that's left. Okay, and one thing I like to do is I like to redefine the main circles. So those original, what was it? Is it 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? 1, 2, see this one here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that's it. For me, I enjoy writing a word, but you don't have to. But I'm just gonna write joy on this one. You could embellish it too with, you know, stickers or words or anything you choose. So that is that one. I'm going to do a little bit of glitter like I did on this one. I'm going to add some glitter highlights, and I'm going to distress the edges. I can't recall the name of this, but it starts with a half smile, and all you do is draw curvy lines of varying lengths. And you do want to aura them, outline. And we're just going to fill in just a bunch of them, kind of rotating the direction a little bit. This is another one of my favorites. I use this one a lot in my tangles. And then once you have a bunch of them, we're going to start crossing, and you can outline them as best you can, but it's really not going to show. I'm just kind of going under the ones that I previously made. I'm just trying to fill up the space. I think a lot of tangles look so complex, but when you break them down, they're pretty easy once you learn them to create. And then there's so many variations. Okay, so I just want to get enough so that it kind of fills out. Maybe one more over here. So you can't even see that where your outline is really going. But that's pretty full. Now on the top, I'm going to draw almost like a Hershey's Kiss shape. Like that. And I'm going to put in some rounded stripes. And I'm going to fill those in. I love the whimsical look of this. I think I'll put one on top too. Fill in these parts. And then I'm just going to fill in some black, especially around the top, for kind of a deeper effect. But definitely leaving some white so you get that highlight. But just a few random black areas create depth and contrast. Okay, that's good enough. And then, well, I want to fill in so I don't have gaps here. Okay, now I'm going to go down and just draw my stem. I like the look of the lines kind of keeping together. Okay, now this one I'm going to come out and draw just a different kind of leaf that has like a striped effect. Goes up. And then I'm going to give it a line, but I'm going to kind of angle the stripes, not quite like we do Braze, but just a little bit. I am so sorry. I think they know when I'm recording. I was so obsessed trying to get all the barking out, and it's impossible. Okay, so I've got that one. And then over here, I'm going to do one that's a little bit different. It's more droopy. I really don't know if I saw this one or if I just, this one I give credit to. I just don't know anymore. Sometimes ones I see and ones I do. So I don't want to take credit for something, but I don't know. Okay, now this one I'm going to kind of swirl the black. When I see a new tangle that inspires me that I want to try, I usually record the name of the person who deconstructed it, or, you know, kind of thought of it, and try to give, you know, credit to those. So if this is somebody's, I'm really sorry because I didn't do that. I usually like it to be more spiraled of a look, but this is what we got. Okay, now I've got that one, I've got that one. Okay, now I want to just add some leaves in here. Nothing too complicated, just up and around, and this one will be kind of like just a point. And I keep trying to kind of rotate so I kind of keep balance. And then I'll just do some leaves that come off. When I come to that line, I'll stop, pick it up over here, so it looks like it's coming behind. And I'll do one here. And maybe there's another type of leaf you wanna draw in. But I just wanted to kind of fill it in a little bit over here. Do one more over here. This one's kind of a droopy leaf. Okay, so that is basically that one. And now we can shade this. So I'm gonna give it just a little bit of depth in here. And a little bit around the top, not too much because I want those highlights. And then in the stem, especially at the bottom, this one here. And I would think the highlight would be like starting around here. So I'll go back over here. And this one at the bottom, there's a little bit of a hump and it dips. And then at the stem, and I'm going to shade one side of this like Braze. And then these, the same type of thing. But if you see a way to shade differently, go for it. I'm going to shade under the leaves to give them some depth. Okay, could even shade in here a little bit, but I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, so now use your graphite to gently smooth that along. And I'm going to go outside again to just kind of lift it off the page. And let's see, what have I got here? All of this I would really shade in here. Under. This one I'm going to let be a little separate because I personally just love that look. And up here, I see a little bit of black. Sorry. Just want to fill in those gaps. Okay. And okay, there we go. So that one is just a little one right there. And on this one, I am going to write the word love. Add some glitter highlights and distress. I got it. Distress the edges. So let's just set that one aside for a minute. And we'll do our third and final little tag. Okay, now for this one, I'm going to do kind of that Braze type of leaf. So first I want to start, I'm going to start a little bit down because I want to spiral at the top and just draw a curvy line that's going to be the vein. And then I'm going to kind of go and outline it. And I'm going to put another one over here. So that's one leaf. And again, I want it to kind of curve at the top. Almost put a perf in there. And I'm going to have another one kind of come off. I got to give it enough room. Kind of come off over here. This is again the middle vein. And this is the outer leaf. When I hit this leaf, I'm just going to stop and pick it up. And then over here, this is the other side. And this one, just a curl. And then I'm going to do one more over here. So this is the middle vein. Maybe that one will come out further. And then the side leaf, the side of the leaf. And then the side of the leaf over here. We'll kind of make it run into this one so it comes out the bottom here. And we'll give it a little curl. Okay, now to draw a braze, we make a curved line, turn, go straight down. Give it a little bit of room, curved, and straight down. That's one section. We're actually going to fill these in black and we're going to outline them. But I'm going to do the outline after. Okay, now let's give ourselves some room and let's do another one. Curved and then straight down. And when you shade, you're going to see a dramatic kind of dimensional effect. And I'm going to do a last one up here, and that one actually will fill up this leaf. So I'm just going to shade in this one. Not really shade, fill it in. Fill in the top. These make just great gift tags too. I mean, just, there's so many places you could use these. Bookmarks, a card, just so many places. Okay, you know what? I'm going to shade this just so you see what I'm talking about. When you shade on just one side, give it some depth under there and some depth under here, and then down here, and then underneath a little bit. Now this one goes under, so I'm not going to worry about it. But watch how dramatic that makes the one side. It just creates such contrast. And this being watercolor paper, you see a little bit of texture, but I love the look of that. Okay, so in this one, again, I'm going to start, oh, I forgot to outline these. I'm going to put an outline here, and on the side of this one, and this one, and this one, this one. But that just kind of gives it a little bit more. And redefine that black line. Okay, let's start on this one. I'm going to start here, curved, and then straight down. Curved, straight down. The more dramatic that angle is right there, the more of a dramatic result you get. And I think I'm going to make this one the tip black. Okay, so go in and fill in those. And don't worry if the blacks kind of blend together. They're still going to pop. Especially because that left side doesn't have any shading. It's just going to lift up. Okay, and then this one. Always turning. Do I say that enough? Okay, and then I'm going to remember my outlines. I got this one. Circle up, straight down. Circle up, straight down. And this one kind of runs into the other. And I think I'll redefine the black vein after shading, but this one is gonna kind of run into the other one. So I'm gonna use the tip more than the side. Trying to leave some white space. A little bit harder. Okay, and you can do this at the end too. You can do all the shading at once, which is what I usually do, is do the line work and then do the shading and redefine. But just want to kind of give you an idea of what we're doing. This one I want the tip to be white, so I think I will start a little bit further up here. Circle straight down. Put in. I'm using my 0.03. The 0.05 is better for filling these in. Okay, and I'm going to outline, curved, straight, curved, straight, curved, straight. And you know what? There's going to be room for, so this one is just going to turn black because there's just too much white for me. So there we go. Okay, let's shade that final one. And if you're missing, you know, some black spots, you can go back and fill them in. Sorry, I forgot to do the bottom. I get so lost in this that when I talk, kind of miss some things. Okay, now I just want to redefine these while I think of it. Give them some weight. Weighting, W-E-I. Weighting the line. Okay, so there's our first three. Now I want to do these stems. So I'm thinking kind of a whimsical curvy stem. And I'm going to do one over here. It crosses over, kind of winds around. Here. Okay, so then let's just put in some fillers. I think I said Bronx cheer in the beginning, but this is actually more of Bronx spear. It's the same thing. It's just, it goes longer. And instead of doing the little tiny circles, you usually do like 2 and go up, do 2, up, till you get it the length that you want it to be. Then I put 1 at the top, and then I just kind of fill in these outside ones. So Bronx spear is just kind of a longer, elongated Bronx cheer. And fill that in. And let's see, do 1 here. Just doing 2 circles, a row. I don't have a lot of room to work with, so okay. And then lastly, let's just put in some vines with some leaves. Nothing complicated, just some little leaves coming off, just to fill it in. Just kind of scattering them so that they're not all in one place. Probably do one here, here, stop at the leaf with the Bronx spear. And feeling like there's one missing here. I'm just gonna draw it behind. Okay. And then I want to do 1 more coming up here, balance it out. Again, drawing behind. Maybe 1 more. Just barely fits. And that is basically it. You know, I could even do a little Fescu, which is just this little one right here, just to fill in this little piece right here. No big deal. Okay, at the bottom of this one, I'm gonna put faith. Okay, so let's just shade in those stems. And we've got our 3rd one. going to go a little bit out here so it looks like it's coming out. A little bit more. A cast shadow. And I wanted to put them in right here. I'm just using the graphite off my tortillon to fill in the areas that I missed. I really love cast shadows. They just have a little bit of a separation between the design. Brings out a lot. Okay, well, I can go on forever with these, but I want to get to the final product to show you. So now we have our 3 tags. So I'm going to show you how to distress the edges and add just a bit of glitter, and then we can watercolor the backs and we can finish up our envelope. So we're almost done. Okay, I'm going to go back to my distressing and just do the edges of these cards, and that really pops up on the light. Sometimes I do these with glitter, acrylic gel pens. That works nice too. There's so many different media things I'd love to share, but the video would be 24 hours long, and with me talking it could be a lot longer. Okay, so cut that one. So there they are. Now the last thing that I'm going to do is add just a touch of the glitter effect and some gold foil, but I just want that ink to dry a little. So I'm going to set these aside for a few, and we can finish our pocket envelope. So let's start by gluing. I'm going to glue it a little off the edge so I can trim it. But I'm going to paste or glue, tack down one of my, just by putting a dot just along the edge. And go right here. And don't worry, you see a little blue that will dry clear. Just going to set it right there. Okay, you can use any type of glitter glue with this. In my work, I use it's called Sargent's acrylic glitter, and so that's what I'm using. It's not very strong. It just gives it a little added sparkle. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna give it a little bit up here. It doesn't show up right away, but it will. As it dries, you'll see it. It just kind of stamping it in the different places I want it to show up. Now, one thing I really love, I don't know if you've worked with the gold flecks, but I love to just kind of add a few here and there. I usually use the tweezers. When I'm in my work, I'm much more precise. But for this, I just kind of scatter just a few here and there. It's for a little added extra. And you can find these in all kinds of forms. This one is actually 14 karat gold. There's, you know, cheap ones too, just on Amazon. They come in sheets too. You can just crumple them up. They come in flakes. Just a wide variety. There's silver, there's gold, there's copper, just all kinds. But that's plenty for what I want to do. Okay. All right, let's let those dry. And I did have these butterflies, like I mentioned, that I die cut. And you can even go around the edges with an antique, with the antique brush, and even antique the edges. But I don't think I'm going to do that for this one. But I think I'm going to put one just right there. Well, let me see. Wait, I have a gem here that I did want to attach. So I think, yeah, I think that'll work. Sorry, there they go. So we'll see you soon. Keep on tangling and lots of love on your path. See you next time.